Australia, the country that made headlines when it told immigrants to not come here, is making waves in the geopolitical environment and giving signs that it won't stop until becoming a global superpower. But is it really that unexpected? Or has this been Australia's plan all along, hiding behind the laid-back nature we all know and love? How are the other global powers responding to these signs? The most unique country in the world. Australia is situated in the southern hemisphere and is made up of the Australian mainland, the island of Tasmania, and several smaller islands. Did you know that with an area of 7,617,930 square kilometers, it is the largest country in Oceania and the sixth largest in the world? It's most famous for extraordinary landscapes and a range of geographic feats, ranging from being the oldest inhabited continent globally to a fascinating history that dates back thousands of years. It is both the flattest and driest continent, with infertile soil that limits agriculture in some regions. From tropical rainforests in the northeast to deserts in the center and mountain ranges in the southeast, one is forced to ask how this country plans to control the economy and also become the next global power. In this video, we are going to explore Australia and the unique position it has on the international scene and why it would be interesting to say the least if it were to become a superpower. In its early history, Australia's economy was relatively closed and inward-looking for a couple of years. After its colonisation by Britain in 1788, Australia remained largely dependent on the exploration of raw materials, such as wool, wheat, and minerals, to its former colonial master. As soon as World War II came to an end, things changed. The Australian government figured out the need to diversify the economy and reduce reliance on Britain. A range of policies and programs were implemented by the government, which were aimed at encouraging manufacturing, attracting foreign investment, and developing new industries, such as mining and tourism. Australia's economy recorded success when the trade relationship with Asia kicked off. Between the 1970s and 1980s, the Australian government began to actively press for trade relationships with Asian countries, including Japan and China. This did not only open the country, but also allowed Australia to tap into the growing demand for raw materials and energy in the region, and to establish itself as a major exporter of commodities, such as iron ore and coal. With the liberalisation of the Australian economy, which kicked off in the 1980s, the government scrapped many of the colonial policies that had previously shielded and blocked Australian industries from foreign competition and introduced market-orientated reforms aimed at increasing competition and efficiency. This led to the growth of new industries, such as information technology and finance, and helped to make the Australian economy more dynamic and responsive to global trends. The miracle of lithium. Petalite was discovered by Brazilian chemist José Bonifácio de Andrade e Silva in Sweden in 1800. However, not much significance was placed on it until 1817, when Johann August Afhuisden, working in Jöns Jacob Berzelius's laboratory, discovered a new element while analyzing petalite ore. Berzelius named the alkaline substance lithium or lithia, stone, and the metal inside lithium to reflect its discovery as a solid metal. During the Cold War between the US and USSR, it was discovered that a combination of lithium and deuterium serves as the fuel for contemporary thermonuclear weaponry. The initial fission reaction generates lithium of energetic gamma and X-rays, expertly directed and reflected towards the fusion mechanism. The US and USSR made use of lithium during this period, but there aren't any reports on why it was neglected after then. Around 2007, it was discovered that aside from helping in the production of nuclear weapons, lithium is an essential component in the production of batteries that generate electrical energy. Its metal is utilized as a negative electrode in a type of battery known as a lithium primary cell. The unique electrochemical properties of lithium make it an ideal material for this purpose. Because lithium has a very low electrode potential of -3.04 volts compared to the standard hydrogen electrode, it makes it highly reactive and capable of generating a significant amount of electrical energy. When lithium is used in a non-aqueous electrolyte battery, it offers the possibility of high voltage and high energy density, and this is made possible due to its unique physical properties, which allow it to store a large amount of energy in a relatively small space. Lithium energy batteries are used for powering consumer electronics and providing energy storage for renewable energy sources. With these discoveries, it was pretty obvious that the electric car industry and the energy industry will increase their demands for lithium in the future, and this intensified the search for more lithium. For the past 2 years, there have been reports that the price of lithium has increased by over 400%, and this is believed to be so because the supply hasn't been able to keep up with its increasing demand. Well, that was bound to happen. Who wouldn't want to get a hold of it? In 2022, a lot of countries shifted their focus to looking for ways to acquire more lithium and serve as the king of the lithium industry. For a country to be able to control lithium, it means such a country has a high probability of dominating the economy, and this brings us back to Australia. Lithium primarily comes from two sources, brines and spodumene, which are gotten from hard rock deposits. The world's largest producing brine deposit is found in northern Chile's Salar de Atacama, while Australia is the top global supplier of lithium from spodumene, accounting for around 60% of the world's supply. Lithium has taken the position as the top 10 export commodities in Australia. As of 2021, Australia's GDP was $1.6 trillion, and when it comes to the Human Development Index, it ranks 5th globally, surpassing Sweden and Denmark. Australia is currently making plans to perfect its green energy. Australia has set out massive plans for the future, especially solar panels stretching through the interior of the nation into its deserts that do not go a day without experiencing burns from the sun. Australia is soon going to become the biggest renewable green energy exporter in Oceania. The only thing that can stand as a hindrance to Australia's massive plans are policies from the government. But you tackle that, it is making a big push towards more attractive business opportunities for foreigners that are looking for a country to locate their businesses. International affairs. If you can remember, at the beginning of the video, trade relations with Australia and Asian countries were mentioned. Well, trade has only improved in Australia over the years. Australia heavily relies on iron ore, coal, and natural gas exports, which collectively account for a significant portion of its exports. In 2021, these three commodities contributed a total of $267.7 billion to the nation's export revenue, with iron ore exports leading at $154.4 billion, followed by coal at $63.5 billion and natural gas at $49.8 billion. There are rising concerns by some economists about the lack of diversity and sophistication in Australia's export profile. They believe that the low economic complexity makes the country vulnerable to trade tensions with China, changes in Chinese domestic economic conditions, and fluctuations in global commodity prices. The Australian government, however, has benefited a lot from elevated commodity prices, which have contributed to the country's current account surplus for the past 2 years. With Russia's inability to adequately supply raw materials due to the war, Australia now stands a chance to become a global economic power. The rising record levels of commodity prices, particularly for iron ore and coal, have led to strong profitability in the mining and agricultural sectors. The positive impact of its trade activities has flowed through, making it a broader economy, and has resulted in increased revenue for the Australian government. In the 2021-22 financial year record, iron ore exports alone accounted for more than 45% of Australia's total export revenue, indicating the importance of this commodity to the country's economy. With the signing of the UK-Australia trade deal on June 15, 2021 by UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson and Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison, Australia's economy is expected to grow by 53%. The deal suggested reducing tariffs and increasing market access. The deal, when effected, will eliminate tariffs on UK exports to Australia, including cars, Scotch whisky, and confectionery, which will benefit UK businesses. And at the same time, the agreement will reduce tariffs on Australian exports to the UK, including on wine, beef, and lamb, which will benefit Australian farmers. The deal will also provide digital trade, financial services, and professional services, which will benefit both countries' economies and make it easier for skilled professionals to work and travel between the UK and Australia. Do you still think Australia can't dominate the global world economy? Is overzealous China going to let that happen? Well, time will tell, but before then, share your thoughts with us in the comments section. And don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.